Welcome to the People Connect podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to our live broadcast. So excited to be here with you this Thursday evening. Keep in mind, every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will bring you information to help you start, market, and grow into the CEO of you. Yes, the Chief Executive Officer. I am your host, Nichelle Womack. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Protect America. Every 13 minutes, a home is burglarized. Our services help protect you and your family and your possessions. You can learn more about Protect America and how we can help save you some money at 1-800-713-0139 and sign up for this discount code, the letter L, 635377. Again, Protect America for your security, for your business, as well as your home. I'm so excited to bring our guest to you today, Keishan Rowe.
Yes.
And she's going to be helping us get our financial life intact. And I don't know about you, but I've had some financial catastrophes. I've had some glorified financial excitement and all of that. And I don't know not one person that has not been in some type of financial issues throughout their life, whether it was younger, through college, or even in the adult life. Things happen, life happens, and here's an opportunity for you to restore yourself. Just a little note, CNBC, I found this data, states that many are wearing rose-colored glasses when we're talking about our financial health, because most of us are not in financial health or in good financial health. However, 48% of Americans say that they have less debt than their friends or family, so that's a good thing. And 8 in 10 Americans are currently in debt right now, so that's a lot of people. 80% of 100% are in debt. And so I know, as I mentioned, if you got school loans or any other things, then you want to hear this information today from our guest. Now, let me go ahead and introduce her. Again, her name is Keishan Rowe. She is known as the Legacy Lady. She's a speaker, entrepreneur, and advocate toward financial literacy. Her passion is to educate individuals on the importance of not only establishing financial security, but a financial legacy. I love legacy building that we will add for generations to come, because we all know that generational debt goes with you when you die for a lot of people. Keishan is the owner of Legacy Financial Consulting Services. It is a financial coaching company based on the state of New York. She is knowledgeable and insightful at the approach to bridging the gap between the world of finance and accounting. I must mention also she is an accountant with practical coaching sessions, and she's been deemed not only valuable, but effective. She finds her most joy when taking her clients' relationship with money to the next level. And you are speaking my language, lady, because I love the next level, okay?
That's it.
Introducing to you, Miss Keishan Rowe. Welcome to the People Connect podcast.
Yeah. Woo, woo, woo.
Yay!
Very much. Before we get started in this amazing conversation that we're going to have with the people on today, I want to thank you so much for extending the invitation to me. I think it's extremely important to speak to people about their finances, and I absolutely love what you are doing. So continue to pave the way, continue to educate your audience, because you are doing an amazing job. So thank you.
Oh, God bless you. And then that's another thing too that drew me to her. She's foundationally spiritually lifted. And I try to connect myself with like minds. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
No problem.
Why don't you tell us, you have the floor, tell us what we need to know in regards to financial growth. What can you do to help our audience get their financial footing correct?
Okay, so here we go. So, we start off by living our lives in such a way, and we have been taught, some people have been taught to have a relationship with money and others have not. And growing up in life, our parents always told us, get a good job, make sure you go to a great college, land that amazing job in corporate America, and then we do all of that, and guess what? We fail at life. And the reason why we're failing at life is because we have not conceptually understood the fundamentals of money and how to manage that. So again, we get these great jobs. We're making, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $50,000. And then we get at a point where we don't know what to do with our money. So we do such a good job of acquiring financial stability and income. However, we allow debt and so many other things out there to cause us to not live above the way we're supposed to be living.
Yes, you just spoke some gospel there and preached a little bit too. That is so true. So, in your business, Ms. Rowe, when you talk about wealth and all of that, how can one get started? Because, as I mentioned, I just read some stats off, and they're staggering stats, and they're reality stats, especially right now when you talked about that good job, because that's what I was told too. Go get these degrees, then you got financial debt from getting a good education to
That's
get
it.
that good job.
Yes. It's so hard, and I think so your question that you're asking pretty much is, how can we take it to the next level?
Right. Can you speak up a little bit more too? I can barely hear you.
Okay, I was saying, you were saying, how can we take it to the next level? How can we take
Right.
our money to the next level? And the way we do that, the first and foremost thing is that we really need to get into the practice of changing the mind. So
Mm.
again, you mentioned that I'm someone who's a faith based, and I come from the theory that everything starts with the mind, and we have to get to a point where we want to change the way our life is going to be. And the way we change the way our life is going to be, first and foremost, is by creating a budget. A lot of people do not like budgets because they feel that budgets restrict them from their life and from enjoying. But actually, a budget is designed to give you holistic living. And the reason why it gives you holistic living is because it gives every single dollar you have a name. So if you have $100 in your pocket, at least you'll get to a point where okay, this $50 is going to go to $20 is going to go towards that, solely because you have a budget. When you don't have a budget, then you allow yourself to just float around and spend freely. But that's not what you were created to do. A lot of people live their lives and they want to be financially free. But the reality of it is that sometimes they put themselves in debt and then expect to get out of it, which is good to have the mentality that you want to get out of it. But the first thing you need to realize is who created the debt, who placed you in the debt. And a lot of times we don't take ownership of the things that we have been doing to create certain mishaps. So,
ooh, another preach sermon right there. And when we get money, we find that money quickly slips out of our hand. Why? Because financial obligations take place. You have to have somewhere to live. You
yes.
have to feed yourself, clothe, and then there's the debt that come along with that. And so, in regards to that, what specific action plan should one put in place to help build their financial portfolio?
Okay, so again, just to leverage off of what I mentioned before about a budget, that is something that you want to take into consideration when thinking about how to build your portfolio. But the main thing that I want your audience to be cognizant of and to really take a step back and think about is to do something called a net worth analysis. And this is an exercise that I do with my clients all the time. And pretty much what a net worth analysis is taking a look at your income versus your expenses. And what you're doing now is doing that on a higher level. So you're looking at all of your assets, which are the income or your asset driven instruments such as a home, cash, stocks, bonds, anything that adds value to who you are. And you compare that to your liabilities. Now your liabilities would be those student loans, would debt, credit card debt, car debt, any other debt that is going to take away from who you are needs to go against all of the assets that you have. So that's the first thing in analyzing how to build your financial portfolio. You have to know where you stand, because a lot of times people want to acquire wealth, people want to invest in the stock market, but the reality of it is you can't do all of those things just yet until you get your financial house in order. And once you get your financial house in order, the sky is the limit. I remember having a conversation with some young people a couple of months ago, and they were saying how they want to invest in the stock market. And I was like, that is great. I said, I love that you're being progressive and you're changing the way you think with your relationship with money. But before we even engage in that conversation, do you have a savings account? And the first thing they said to me was, no, I don't have a savings account. So I said, okay, so let's stop the conversation right now. Let's start building your money in your savings first, because God forbid something happens. You can't just go and pull that money out of the stock market without having a penalty, especially if it's wrapped up in your 401k. But you have to take things very slowly. Focus on what your net worth is, who you are at the end of the day, and then we could start talking about other ways to build that portfolio. And again, look at yourself based on your net worth and not so much your net income. Because if you lose your job today, you're going to be leveraging off of your net worth, which is how much assets you have, cash, stocks, bonds, versus your liability, which is the debt, the student loans, the car notes, and all of those other things that we absolutely hate.
Exactly. We like to have them, but we hate to pay them. Okay.
That's
So
it.
basically, liquid assets, because this is something I've been, focusing on with my teenagers. I have young teenagers that are in college. And when we talk about liquid assets, money that you're readily able to get right then and there, unfortunately, within a house, sometimes you're not readily able to get that, nor within the stocks and bonds. It takes a minute for it to come. Your 401k, it takes a minute for it to come. So with liquid assets, some things that we need to be mindful of. What are the first signs that you're in debt, and how can you turn that around quickly?
Okay. So the first sign that you will know you're in debt, one of which is when you look in your bank account and you realize that you are in the red and you're in the negative. And what I want people to realize is that you have to look at yourself as the CEO, and you mentioned it in the beginning, being the CEO of your own personal finances. And I always start off my presentations in some instances with this main question, or end it with this main question, and is, would you want to be the CEO of a company that's in the red? And in the red, meaning they have no money. They're operating in a deficit. And if your answer to that question is no, a company or even invest in that company, why would you want someone to invest in you by giving you a credit card? And why would you want your own personal finance to reflect that? This year, I've been deeming this year as the year of yes. And I've been telling a lot of my clients and followers on Facebook and Instagram that this is the year of yes. To say yes to more cash, say yes to having more, liquid cash, saying yes to those things and saying no to debt. Shonda Rhimes is the author of this book, The Year of Yes, and she talks so much about how individuals need to, say yes to those things that make them afraid and make them scared. I want to challenge everyone to say yes to those things that promote optimum success in your finances, and say no to those things which is debt free. However, we allow society and the tools out there in the world to put us more in debt, but we're in control. We're in control.
And you just made a very great point, and this kind of piggybacks on the school loans, because when we talk about, I speak of CEO all the time, and I'm one that helps people to start businesses, but I also help them to get control of their life as well. And being the CEO means that you're the chief executive officer of yourself. So when you invest in yourself, that's investing in knowledge. That degree is one aspect. But I tell people every day, as soon as you leave that classroom and that paper is in your hand, you must continue to still learn. Okay. Things change. Money is still the same, but there's different things that we can add to our portfolio to help grow our financial knowledge, our base of finances, and things of that nature. And I always talk about adding a side hustle, for the simple reason people need additional income. And as you stated as well, that job, what if it goes tomorrow? And if it goes tomorrow, you're stuck looking for something, and unemployment does not work when you're used to making a certain amount of money.
That's it. Because the reality of it, especially us being women, our normal upkeep does not change. We still want to get our hair done. We still want to get our nails done. But it has to get to a point where, we're setting ourselves up financially, just in the event that an emergency comes, we're taken care of. And the reason being is because emergencies do not make appointments. They just occur. So if you're not financially prepared by having a sound budget and living within your means, when a catastrophe happens and an issue occurs, you're scrambling. But you have to live within your means, and just because you can afford it doesn't mean you need to buy it.
Exactly. You have to understand needs versus wants.
That's it.
You know, there are certain things that we need, as I mentioned earlier, house, gas for our car, or bus money, or whatever you have. Or food, definitely, you need those things, and wants have to be delayed
That's
per se. Okay. As far as married couples and single moms, most of my client base are, it is a variation of single moms and married couples. What would you advise each one specifically to do to help, really just clarify where they are? I know you talked of the budget, you discussed that, but if they want to gain financial prosperity, we know that there are stocks out there. What are some means right now, immediately, that they can do for those different situations?
Okay, I would say for both moms and married folks, I would say the first thing you need to do is, if you're looking to building, you want to consult someone who can probably take your financial portfolio to the another level, which is someone like a financial advisor. So
Mhm.
you would go to them and you let them know, this is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to, let's say, for example, when I retire, I want to have about $500,000 saved up for retirement. What things do I need to do now in order to have a terrific portfolio in the next 30 or 40 years? So everything is about, engaging in those conversations with people that can steer you in the right direction. So the first thing I would advise someone to do is to speak to a financial advisor. The
Mhm.
second thing I would advise them, and it goes back to what I mentioned before about just understanding what your net worth is, you want
Mhm.
to understand where your assets sit, how much
Mhm.
assets you have, and how much liability you also have. Because the reality of it is 76% of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
So if you're living from paycheck to paycheck now, just imagine when you get into retirement age, Social Security is not going to cover your expenses the way we would hope them to do. But we
Mhm.
have to realize we have to put certain things in place from now. So it's
Mhm.
investing in the 401ks in the stock market. But in addition to that, understanding how can I reduce my liabilities and
Mhm.
at the same time increase my assets.
That's awesome because, as I mentioned, life never waits for us. It never happens. As you just mentioned, emergencies don't have appointments, they just come.
Mhm.
So, it really is scary when you get to that point. What if someone is on the verge of bankruptcy? Is there any way, should they just go file, or should they reassess their debt, try to pay it off? What would you suggest in that regard?
Yeah, I would say bankruptcy should be the last resort. I had a couple of clients who actually, um, we had conversations about them wanting to do that. Actually, I had two clients, and I steered them out of doing that just because it has a negative effect on your credit score and your credit report. Bankruptcy stays on your report for 7 years,
Mhm.
right? So when creditors see this, in some instances, they don't know the story behind why you had to do that. It could be a legitimate reason why you had to file for it. But at minimum, I want to steer people away from it because, again, your finances can change once you change the way you think and you take it a step further and you put it into action. So Aristotle says it best, that we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but an habit.
Mhm.
Therefore, if we continue to do those things that promote optimum success in our finances, we can change certain things into our lives into success. And
Mhm.
again, you can be excellent at whatever level you are at. You don't need to be Bill Gates or, Warren Buffett to be successful with your money and your finances. You have
Mhm.
to take the necessary steps today.
Mhm.
So,
And that's where you made a great point too that I was thinking of as well. Being a real estate broker, a lot of my clients come to me, they don't even know what their credit score is. They know, I'm like, you owe people, okay? But you don't know your credit score. It's
yeah,
really hard to get your financial house in order if you don't know where you stand financially. And it starts with that score,
that's it.
because that score, one missed payment can drop 100
It sure
points.
will.
You know, if you don't pay somebody. I mean, so that's the first thing that I advise them always when I'm talking to them about buying a house. I said, let's talk about the credit first, because that's what we need to understand. We need to know where we are. How would you advise somebody in that regard as far as the credit is
So
concerned?
in regards to the credit, again, like you mentioned, a lot of times we don't know our financial blueprint. We don't know what's
Mhm.
going on with our health when it comes to our finances, and we go out there and we want to, get a home. We want to get a student, not a student loan, excuse me. We want to get a car loan or anything like that, but we don't know where we currently stand. So there are so many free things out there that you can utilize to pull your credit score. Credit Karma
Mhm.
is one of those devices that you can use. It doesn't have a negative effect on your credit. A lot of people
Mhm.
think if I'm pulling it all the time or I'm analyzing it, it has a negative effect on my credit report. It actually doesn't. It doesn't affect your score or your credit report. The only time your credit score is affected is when outside creditors are pulling it to reach true you stand when it comes to your finances. And that's something called the hard inquiry. So if you have a lot of hard inquiries, meaning you have a ton of credit card companies trying to, give you a credit card or trying to get a loan, those are considered hard inquiries. But you can go to creditkarma.com and get that for absolutely free. In addition to that, there is free annual report.com. You can go on there to get your annual report from three, what is it called? Credit
Credit bureaus.
bureaus.
Mhm.
Yes, three credit bureaus. That's Equifax, TransUnion, and Equifax
Experience.
and Experian. You
Mhm.
go to those sites and you're able to pull them. What I advise individuals to do is to pull them every 3 months, because
Mhm.
you can pull from each one of those credit bureaus every 3 months, and you have the opportunity to look at what your credit report is saying. And
Mhm.
for me to break it down for those who don't know, a credit report is like your report card when you're in school. It gives you an overall analysis of what has been going on since you started school, quote unquote. So it has everything on there. Now, your GPA, which is your grade, would be equivalent to your credit score. So
Mhm.
again, you want to make sure that your credit score, if possible, is over 750 or higher for that to be excellent credit.
Right.
Anything that is below that, that is from, I believe, like 630, 640, is considered good. But you want to
Mhm.
try to aim for 750 or higher. And the reason
Exactly.
why, I'm sorry, for those who don't know, is because
Mhm.
that affects the credit rate that you get, your
Mhm.
credit card rate.
Mhm.
So if you have like a 30% credit rate, sometimes it's a direct correlation to your credit score.
Exactly. Your financial health. We in the mortgage real estate industry call it DTI, debt to income,
Yep.
whereas your debt should not exceed your income, and it's typically around
Yep.
30%. And so when we're looking at that, when I'm analyzing it, those are things that I bring to forefront for the clients. So, Ms. Rowe, in regards to how you help clients, because you are a certified financial educator planner,
Yes.
um, and an accountant, so you've been doing this a while. You're very well versed in the knowledge of that. How can you help clients that come to you that are seeking help? What is something that they need to bring immediately? And what expectations should they have? A lot of people think that they've been broke all their lives, but tomorrow they think they're going to be rich. And we know that if it took you a while to get there, it's going to take you a while to get out. Okay.
Hello. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So, what should they expect when they meet you to have your services?
I think the first thing that people should expect from me when they first get to meet me and we sit down and we talk about their finances, they're going to get um, dividends that are going to last them for eternity. And I pride myself in speaking to people about building their legacy, because people don't realize how important that is. The things that you have learned in your finances sometimes is a direct correlation to the things that you have been taught by your parents. And if you are a parent and you have kids, you want to make sure that you're not passing down the same generational debt mindset to your kids, but actually passing down generational wealth to them. And generational wealth comes in a multitude of things. In this instance, we're talking about finances, but it also comes into play when you talk about the way they think, changing the trajectory of their lives from now based on the information that you provide. So when they come in and they sit down and we talk, I start to change the way they think. I start to decolonize their I get them to start thinking not just about living today with their finances and just looking good to impress people who are not even looking for them, but to take it a step further and to have them start saving and preparing for an emergency. And in addition to that, thinking about their future. Because the reality of it is, who wants to work for the rest of their lives, especially when they are in their 60s and 70s? That's the time for you to enjoy your life. But what I love to do is have people to realize you can enjoy your life now with your finances. I can go on trips when I want to, not because I'm rich. It's because I have set myself up in such a way that I have money available at my disposal and I'm not living from paycheck to paycheck. And you don't have to make $100,000 to do that. Just to share a little bit with your audience, I was able to purchase a home at the age of 24, not because I was rich and my parents helped with the process, but it was mainly because I was a good steward of the money that I had once I graduated from college and I was able to get a good job in corporate America. So that's the thing. So we get this good job, but we miss the mark and fail at life because as soon as we get that first job, we want to get a BMW, we want to get a Mercedes. And don't get me wrong, I wanted those things, but I also understood that there's so much power in delayed gratification. And now I can enjoy certain things at my age because I set myself up in my 20s. That's the building stages. You know, you build or you prepare at 20, and when you become 30, that's when you really taking it to the next level. So I think some individuals, they have delays in when they start the process, but it doesn't matter when you start, as long as you start and you hit the ground running.
Exactly. And that's so key too, because I know, as I mentioned, I know people that have been through financial ruin. And I too was the same situation as you. Got my first house. I had a condo when I graduated from college. And I thank the instilling of my father, to putting that information in my ear and telling me about, prosperity and legacy and things of that nature. But, it's no better time but to bottom line, just start wherever you are, pick up knowledge, pick up resources, hire a person like you to come in and get their financial house in order. And just to piggyback on a religious perspective, even in the Word of God, He says that He's giving you these resources. And so many people get the Word of God confused with where we're supposed to be, talking about money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Money is given to us as a tool so that we can enhance our lives and that of others. And if I can literally get that through Black people's head, because I'm a church goer, but I also read and understand the word. And I think that's a misconception in our community. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. And I think you hit it. You hit it right on the head. And I have these conversations and a lot of the organizations that I speak to. So I also do financial coaching, but I also speak to organizations, and mainly the population that I speak to is organizations. And a lot of times that whole notion comes up, money is the root of all evil. But people don't understand that Christ died that we might have life and have it in abundance, right? And then the way we have life more abundantly is taking hold to the things that He has provided for us in order to be successful. So there's the world's economy, and then there's God's economy when it comes to finances. And sometimes we don't know how to bridge the gap between the two. So you can have faith, but the Bible says faith without works is dead. So if you're just going to rely on faith alone to get your finances to where it needs to be, God can do exceedingly and abundantly, but it's all up to you to take the necessary steps in order to take your finances to the next level. So there's so much things that people, think that money is the root of all evil, or, I can't have generational wealth. I have to have generational poverty. No, that's not what you were created to be. And everything starts with our mind and our speech. And life and death is in the power of our tongue. And if we continue to say things that take away from who we are as individuals, we're going to continue to operate in a realm of a deficit when that's not where Christ has called us to be. So money is not the root of all evil. No, no, no. No, the love, like you mentioned, like the Bible said, the love of it. But that's with anything. If I love pizza, the love of pizza is going to make me fat. I know it is. And I gained some pounds because I love pizza. But anything that you put too much love into and it takes away from your love from God is the root of all evil. So it's not just money. It could be pizza. Lord, forgive me for loving pizza. But it could be whatever it is that you put more emphasis on than on God. So, no.
Girl, look, I'm not ready to shout up in here, okay? That was a word right there. Amen. Praise God. Yes, we can go on and on and on and on talking about how we can prosper, how we can grow and develop, not only as women, but as children of God.
That's
Because
it.
as Keishan just said, you got to start putting things in perspective. And the more you put things in perspective, the more you have a reflection of where it is you want to go in life and how you want to build that legacy and not leave that generational debt so people
Yes.
can carry on. And so we can go into a whole bunch of areas, but we'll do that another time because I got you for something else too, okay? Because I'm just feeling you right now, lady. So thank you so much. So tell our audience, because I know you have a huge platform, how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, so people can get in contact with me by going over to KeishanRowe.com, my first and last name. And if you're interested in signing up for any financial coaching, you can go on there and see the packages that I offer. In addition to that, what you can also do is follow me on social media. I am on Facebook at The Legacy Lady on Facebook, so you can look me up on there. I post daily. I try to provide videos of encouragement on there. And then you can also follow me on Instagram, where you can get little quotes and things of that nature. But I would love to connect with your audience. And if they do decide to sign up for a financial coaching package, I will discount the rate by 10%. So if they are interested in signing up, I will have no problem with discounting it for 10%. I almost said 60%.
Look, girl, look, we're in business, but we still have to make money, okay? I definitely understand. So all you have to do is say the People Connect podcast, and Keishan will get that to you. Can you spell your first name, your website again for them? Because you have a different name.
Okay, so the first name is KeishanRowe.com. So it's KeishanRowe.com. So KeishanRowe.com.
Awesome. An amazing, beautiful name, too.
Yeah. Or
For a beautiful person.
they can also send an email to declarefinancialfreedom@gmail.com. And that's
Awesome.
one word.
Awesome. Do you have any freebies to give out to them, or?
So I do have a budgeting worksheet for those who don't have a budgeting worksheet. I actually have that to give away. So once they come onto the website, they can sign up for the newsletter, or they could just send me an email and I will shoot that off to them.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Miss Rowe, it has been an absolute blessed pleasure being in your presence of knowledge and sharing it with our audience. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today here at the People Connect podcast.
Okay, no problem. And thank you again for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm Nichelle Womack. As I mentioned, I'm your host of the People Connect podcast. Join us here every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you have not liked our Facebook page, go ahead and click on that like button. We greatly appreciate it. And I know if this information has blessed you, then you need to bless somebody else and share it. Don't be afraid to share. Sharing is caring. Yes. And again, we are sponsored today by Protect America. As I mentioned, every 13 seconds, a home is burglarized, and the services help protect you and your family and your possessions. You can go to 1-800-713-0139 and give them the discount code L635377, and you can get your home and business protected immediately there. So that is it, all I have for you today. You can connect with me here on Facebook at the People Connect Podcast. I'm also available on Instagram at Nichelle Womack, and that's N as in Nancy, ICHELLEWOMACK. Nichelle Womack. I'm on Twitter as well too. So thank you so much for being here. Be blessed and highly favored. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to the People Connect Podcast. Bye-bye. Thank you, Ms. Rowe.
No problem. Thank you.
All righty. Trying to get us out of here now. They don't want to cut us off.